today's video where I am going to try and do 24 hours of reading. I'm gonna do it the timer method. I've already read for an hour and a half today. The reason I'm doing a 24-hour challenge today is because I need to finish this book. The Netflix show just came out for The Three Body Problem and my boyfriend wants to watch it. He's read the book, I haven't. I'm trying to get this read before he comes back. He's on a work trip. And I thought it would be fun to just get a bunch of reading done this weekend while I got the whole apartment to myself. My goal is to read at least 12 hours today. I really want to get this done in 2 days. That's why I wanted to just wake up and get reading right away. I just finished page 245. We're making some good progress. Should be able to finish this up this morning, hopefully. There's a lot of parts to it where they really go into the physics of something and explain it pretty in depth. I just skim over a lot of that part. It's a little I am not smart enough to comprehend all of that, but they do try and explain it with metaphors and examples to make it easier to explain, so I'm comprehending some of it, at least like the basic ideas. I just read a part where they make a computer out of millions of people. So that was really interesting. I've been really enjoying how I've been reading it. I have the physical copy, but I also am listening to the audiobook, and that kind of helped because things are so wordy, using physics lingo. It's a way that I'm not getting tripped up on trying to read these words. It's hard to explain what this book is about. It's very abstract. Something is happening where parts of physics aren't working as expected. There's a video game, I guess. Nobody knows where it came from. There's this very experimental world where you have to kind of figure out why the sun's rotation is irregular, and it's kind of confusing. I did watch the first episode. That was kind of helpful because I knew a little bit about what it was going to be about. The show is already very different from the book. I'm starving. I need to eat some breakfast. I'm going to start reading Crying in H Mart because that's also on my TBR. Start playing this. Alrighty, loving that one so far, but now because I'm going to be reading all day, I feel like I need to get out and do something. So we're going to go down to the gym. I'm going to continue listening to Crying in H Mart. So far, I'm really loving it. The first 2 chapters are all about Korean food and how important that was to her mother and to her family, her and her mother's relationship together. The book starts off with her talking about how her mother passed away recently, and then it's just gone on to reflect on their relationship and how it changed over the years. It's a really beautiful and reflective book. It's pretty short. It's only a 7-hour audiobook. I'm almost 2 hours into it, so I'm going to continue listening. Let's go. You're right under a fan, so hopefully it's not too loud. It's about 12:15 in the afternoon. I've read about 4 hours, which means we have 8 hours left. Obviously, I just showered after a lovely workout. Crichton H Mart is really good. I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad I was sweating on the treadmill because I was definitely sweating from my eyes a little bit there. It's really good. It's really heartfelt. It is really sad. Great storytelling. I'm enjoying it, and I think I'm just about halfway through at this point. But it is a little sad, so I kind of need a break from it. So I'll probably go back to reading The Three Body Problem. In terms of books I want to start next, I really want to read something physical. After the complexity of The Three Body Problem and the sadness of Crichton H Mart, I need like a little rom-com or something a little lighter. I don't know what that's going to be. I was kind of thinking Little Women is also on my TBR this month, but is that going to be an easy read? Because I kind of think I'm going to want an easy read. I think I'm going to eat lunch, finish Three Body Problem. I will talk to you again afterwards. Okay. Okay, just finished The Three Body Problem. I feel like my 24-hour challenge is a success. At minimum, I completed this. Feeling good. Thoughts on this? I feel like I need to sit on it for a bit. The premise was really interesting, but like I mentioned, it went really in depth in the physics of everything, and it really lost me. One of the last chapters, it really went off 20-30 pages, and I had to skim it, zone out. I did not understand what was going on. But I will say, overall premise of the book was very engaging. I enjoyed it for the most part, a bit over my head in a lot of aspects, and I will be very curious to see how the Netflix show handles it. I'm thinking a 3 to 4 stars. I don't know, maybe I'll just give it a 3.5. It's very thought-provoking. It's a little hit you over the head with the meaning or like what it's trying to get at. I don't know if I'd recommend it to everyone. If you are someone who knows that you get really frustrated reading a lot that you may not understand, probably not the best book for you. Because there were definitely parts where I was like, I just want to get through this, which is why I'm leaning more towards a 3 than a 4. That's The Three Body Problem. I am 7.5 hours, so we are over halfway for this day, at least for the goal of getting 12 hours. 24 hours is a long time. I am getting a little... I have The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. Again, I want something that's kind of no thoughts, just vibes. I need a no thoughts one. There is actually, it was Trans Visibility Day, or is it Trans Visibility Week this week? And there is a book I wanted to read that features a transgender main character. Maybe that's what we'll grab. The Sunbearer Trials. A YA, fantasy, some mythology. That seems like a very relaxing book that I could get into for a bit. Let my brain digest. We're almost at 10 hours. I just got to chapter 8 in the Sunbearer Trials, about 25% in, page 102. It started off pretty good. It's definitely YA, as the title suggests. There's trials and a competition, and basically it is about all these different gods, and every 10 years 10 gods are picked to compete against each other to have the honor of replenishing the sun's power to all the different locations and cities. At least one person that dies because their blood is used as like part of the power to power the sun. There's 3 different types of gods. There's the golds, which are the all-powerful, and there's jades, who are less powerful but they're friendly and part of society. And then there's obsidians. They're the ones who are trapped, and that's why you have to power the sun or replenish the sun's power so that the obsidians stay trapped. They're like monsters. The ones that are chosen for the trial, the top 10, they're not actually the gods themselves, they're like the gods' kids. It's usually all 100% gold demigods. However, of course, our main character gets chosen to be part of the trials. Our main character, he's trans, and it's interesting, they talk about him like wearing a binder because he has wings that instead of being bright like male birds, they're dull like female birds. Doesn't like using them, and he doesn't feel comfortable with those. And he's a big prankster. He goes around and doing a bunch of pranks. That's what this is about. So far, so good. I think it'll be a cute little friendship story. It is very YA, so I don't think it's gonna be anything too crazy or gruesome. It's pretty predictable so far. I'm getting hungry, so I think I'm gonna pop on Crying in H Mart again, listen to that audiobook for a bit while I heat up dinner. It's nice, I'm reading a Kindle book because that means I can kind of read till I fall asleep tonight and hopefully get past the 12 hours. Since we're already at 10 hours, I think we're gonna make it. We'll have so much reading for tomorrow. Yeah. All right, let's go make dinner. We made it. We did our 12 hours for the day. I think I'm gonna take a break for a little bit. I'm probably going to read before I go to bed and just like read till I sleep. But just an update, I listened to more of Crying in H Mart, which had me in tears. So that hit. I have a little bit more left of it, but I think I'm gonna save that for tomorrow. Got another 10% of the way through the Sunbearer trial. We got to watch the first trial, and I will be honest, I skimmed through a lot of it. It was very focused on our main character and what he was doing. And you're kind of like, he's gonna make it, he's gonna be fine. I will see you again when I'm getting ready for bed and want to read before I fall asleep. Good morning. Hair is looking quite a mess. I've read for about another hour last night, and I read a little bit this morning. So we are now at just over 14 and a half hours of reading, which is great. The whole time I was reading more of the Sunbearer trials. I am on page 238, a little over 50% of the way, and it's okay. I'm a little annoyed with the main character. Like, he just gets angry. His enemies are trying to help him, like genuinely help him, and he's like being rude about it. We were getting more into like the trans aspects. The world is very accepting. It's very normal for people to have gender confirmation ceremonies. Because they're gods, they don't reproduce like humans, so 2 males can have a baby, which I think is really cute. It is a very comforting read to be in such an idealistic place like that, but we still get some, just because it is an ideal world doesn't mean that being born in a body that doesn't correlate with who you feel you are is still easy. Like, we're still getting lots of aspects of that internal struggle. I think that's a good conversation to have. So I like that, but the plot and our actual character and how he's acting is very YA. I don't read too much YA. I love a good YA romance that hits. There's just something about it that is just so much more emotional sometimes. One of my favorite top series is a YA trilogy, Once Upon a Broken Heart. Oh, I love it so much. So I don't read YA too much, but I do appreciate it sometimes. This one's feels a little young for me, but that's okay. I'm still enjoying it. I'll finish it up. But for now, I'm going to finish Crying in H Mart. I have about 2 hours left, but I'm listening to it on 1.5 speed. Listen to that while I make and eat breakfast. I'm really loving it so far, and I don't usually rate memoirs less than a 5-star no matter what. Like, I'm not gonna judge someone's life story if it's not entertaining enough, but this is very well written and a very beautiful story. We'll finish that. We'll finish the Sunbury Trials, and then we'll get into our next book. I don't know how much time I'm gonna have left, so probably something fairly short. I know I have A Psalm for the Wild Built on my TBR, and that's less than 200 pages, so that should be something I should definitely be able to finish up today in our 24-hour time period. Oh, we'll see how it goes, and I will talk to you soon. Too much more of the Sunbury Trials, but I found out another thing that bothers me about this book. The Gold Gods have been going to this academy to train specifically for the Sunbury Trials. These trials have been going on for centuries, and it kind of reminds me of if you ever took the SAT or the ACT and took a class for that of some sort. You not only learn about, okay, what are you going to be tested on, but also how the test is formed and how it's scored. So there's like tips and tricks. So the trials have been going on for centuries, and people are all confused. Every time the rankings go up, they're like, I don't get it. The person who runs the trials explains it. Like, oh, you did XYZ. That wasn't in the spirit of this specific trial, so you were ranked lower. And you would think that at the academy, these things would be studied. Part of teaching would be like, hey, when a trial is explained, listen for key words that determines what the trial is actually testing you on. But no, they just teach them brute force, and then everyone's like, yeah, I'm so confused. The rankings are so hard to understand. I don't get it, when it's pretty obvious. I think that's what I mean when I say it feels YA. Like, the logic doesn't make sense, like feels like a plot hole. I'm going to just power through and hopefully finish it up soon. I will fill you in if I have any other thoughts or when I finish the book. All right, that's all. We are almost at 19 hours. I have about an hour left on the audiobook. I'm on chapter 24, 93% of the way done. So I grabbed some ingredients for making a cheesecake and then a couple things for dinner. My boyfriend's coming home tonight. His favorite dessert is cheesecake, and he had a really big week this week, so I want to surprise him with something yummy when he gets home. Hopefully I can get most of this done while listening to the audiobook, and then I can move on to our next book and finish up the last couple of hours we have on this challenge. Follow along. Cheese. How could I have possibly forgotten cream cheese? I forgot to get cream cheese. Alright, I'm gonna run back to the store, but I won't have enough audiobook to actually then make the whole cheesecake. Probably just enough to go back and grab cream cheese and come back. Figure out that. I can't believe I forgot cream cheese. How did I not write that down? I don't know. finished the Sunbearer Trials. I did go back to the grocery store and get cream cheese. Got all the ingredients back there now. Most of them have to be at room temperature, so they have to sit out anyways. I got a Psalm for the Wild built, which is on my TBR. It's under 200 pages. My Kindle estimates I'll read it in just over 2 hours, and we have about 5.5 hours left of the timer. By the time I finish this, that should all be at room temperature, so I'll start another audiobook of some sort at that point and make the cheesecake. We have options for audiobook. The Tale of the Flower Bride, which I have a physical copy of. It's on my physical TBR and it's also on my monthly TBR. I started reading it physically, but then I switched to the audio and I don't like the audio version as much, so may not do that. I did grab on Libby, Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. I feel a good, funny murder mystery would be a good audiobook. I also have like a non-fiction I could do, which might be interesting. It's called Invisible Women, but I don't know if I'm gonna be so into a non-fiction because I listened to a memoir, read a sci-fi, and then this is gonna be another sci-fi. I read the prologue about humans develop these robots with some artificial intelligence, some AI, and all of a sudden these robots developed a consciousness and just didn't want to work for humans anymore, and were given the opportunity or asked or somehow decided to go off within like a remote forest and not deal with humans anymore. It seems like an interesting premise. It seems fun, and I heard it's a little wacky, a little weird. This will be a good quick book, and then we'll kind of determine what to read afterwards while making cheesecake. Some of the imagery we're getting right now, it reminds me of The Last of Us, where there's these large factories that have been abandoned and they've been completely overrun with forest life. So that's what I'm picturing right now, is The Last of Us. So I think that's fun. I just finished A Psalm for the Wild Built, and oh my goodness, what a sweet book. First part was a little confusing. It took a minute to get into it, but once the adventure got started, it really took off. It was really refreshing to read, especially after reading The Three Body Problem, because The Three Body Problem has a really negative outlook on current human society, and A Psalm for the Wild Built had just a much softer lens on human society. Not to say that it was super shining and positive. Like I mentioned, the world reminded me of The Last of Us, or a zombie apocalypse movie where these buildings, these factories and large concrete buildings get overrun by forests and plants. And that's kind of how it worked, because the premise of it is that humans created robots with consciousness that were working in these factories. As they came to humans, were like, hey, we know you built us for this purpose, but we don't want to do it. We just want to go do our thing and observe the world. Can you just give us some space? And humans were like, okay, sure, you can have this space. We'll abandon these factories. We'll figure out how to live life without you. And then the main premise of the book takes place centuries later, at least decades later, where everyone who would have remembered that time is long gone, and robots are almost like a mythological thing. It's really interesting. A lot of the meaning behind it was really good, and I'm gonna give the Psalm for the Wild Built 4 stars. This book gives kind of those cozy, comforting vibes. If you like cozy fantasy, this might be a good pick for you. And kind of be a cozy sci-fi. I would say if you enjoyed Before the Coffee Gets Cold, you might enjoy this one. It's kind of similar in that there's a bit of urban fantasy thrown in there, along with just kind of how it describes things and the messaging. And also they're both very short and very digestible. There is a second book. I definitely do want to read that. I think it's also on Kindle Unlimited. And then speaking of second books, I realized I didn't go over the Sunbearer Trials with you after I finished it. It didn't get much better. They did kind of describe a little bit of what I was complaining about earlier in terms of the rankings were a little different, a little odd. I just wish that that would have been described better, like saying, hey, this varies from past times. It wasn't totally explained, so I'm not completely convinced of what they were trying to get at. It just seemed a little disorganized, but overall it was interesting. I think it leaves off on a really good point. There is a second book. It's a duology, and that's coming out September this year, so I will probably pick that up, especially if it's just on Kindle Unlimited. It seems like the second book has just a much more interesting premise. So I think I'm giving the Sunbearer Trials a 2.5, but giving it a 3 on Goodreads. What's next? We are at, what is our time check? I did take a break from reading for a bit to have dinner and just kind of give my brain a break. So it's almost 7 o'clock and we are at almost 22 and a half hours. We've got just an hour and a half left. That's doable, we can do that. I'm going to toss on an audiobook. I think I am going to do Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. I think that'll just be light and fun. I'm gonna make the cheesecake. Yeah, let's get in this last hour and a half. Okay, just starting off, so random. It goes through like these 10 commandments that mystery authors follow, and one of them is like the mystery will not involve some crazy scientific thing that requires like a long explanation. And I was like, yes, because that's how I felt reading The Three Body Problem. So appreciate that. Going to continue. 24 hours is complete, and I literally finished it less than a minute before our cheesecake got pulled out, so that worked out really well. And because I was listening to an audiobook, I actually cleaned everything up afterwards. Everyone in my family has killed someone. I am exactly 25% of the way through chapter 14. It's good. It's exactly what I was thinking it was going to be. It was the perfect, can half pay attention and you still pretty much know what's going on. I think it would have been probably more interesting to read it physically because of the like rules in the beginning and how he references specific chapters of when things are going to happen. It maybe like would have been cool to take notes and figure things out. It was good. I liked it. I will continue reading it. I think it'll be just a silly, goofy book. The narrator's really fun. I think that's pretty much what I heard from everyone who's read this book before. His job is writing how to write these kind of mystery thrillers. So he's kind of walking us through everything and talking himself through things and thinking out loud. Almost stream of consciousness. It's good. I like it. I think it's the perfect cozy mystery. I don't know if it's necessarily considered cozy, but perfect to walk around to your groceries, get things done around the house and listen to. Alright, that is my 24-hour challenge complete. But right now I am too tired. It is 8:45. Gotta wait an hour for this cheesecake to cool, but I'm probably just going to watch The Ultimatum on Netflix and rot my brain for a bit and close my eyes and just kind of chill for the rest of the night and hopefully get outside, touch some grass a little bit more tomorrow. That'll be good. Thanks for joining me and I'll see you soon. Bye! Okay, I just finished my cheesecake. I had to show you. Look how cute she is! The strawberries are supposed to look like hearts. Anyways, that's all.